A very good morning to all of you. I am Merium Khan. I work as an education advisor at United States Education Foundation in Pakistan. We are Education USA, a US Department of State network of over 430 international student advising centers in 178 countries and territories. We promote US higher education to students around the globe by offering accurate, comprehensive, and current information about opportunities to study at accredited post-secondary institutions in the United States. I work as an education advisor in the Lahore office for United States Education Foundation in Pakistan. And as the title of the session suggests, today we are going to talk about the GRE exam, which is Graduate Record Examination. This exam is a must for Fulbright scholarship application. So what is our Fulbright scholarship program? It is the flagship scholarship program of the US Department of State. Fulbright awards are offered in 150 countries in the world. Um, since 2005, Pakistan has had the largest Fulbright program in the world, and it's because of the generous funding that we get from the US Embassy in Pakistan. So if you are looking to go for your master's or PhD education in the US, you can apply for the Fulbright program, and for this program, you need to have taken the GRE exam. Today's workshop is about the GRE exam, and we have with us Mr. Zeeshan Qureshi, who is the Principal Advisor Test Prep at United States Education Foundation in Pakistan. I welcome you, Mr. Zeeshan, for this session, and I thank you for volunteering for this and giving us your valuable time.
Thank you so much.
You may resume with the presentation.
Okay. Hello, everyone. A warm welcome to our session for GRE. So as Merium mentioned, GRE stands for Graduate Record Examination. So basically, this is an aptitude test that you take if you want to go for master's or PhD in the United States. It's also accepted in other countries in the world. So basically, we'll start with GRE quantitative reasoning, but before that, let me give you an overview of the test. So GRE is a computer-based test. So this means that you need to sit in front of the computer for 4 hours to do this exam. Previously, few years back, GRE used to be a paper and pencil based test, but not anymore. So in Pakistan, you're going to be doing the GRE on the computer. The fee is $205 and the scores are valid for 5 years. So this means that if you take the GRE this year in 2020, your scores will be valid through 2025. On the day of the test, you can send your score report to 4 institutions for free, but after the exam, you have to pay a fee for each additional institution to which you send your score report to. So generally, GRE is offered all week from Monday to Thursday, every week and all year round. But these days, due to the pandemic, our centers in Lahore, Karachi, and Islamabad are closed so far. So what ETS has done, now what is ETS? ETS is Educational Testing Service. So what they have done is they have given students the option for GRE from home test. So you can get registered for that through the website of ETS, which is www.ets.org/GRE. But there are certain requirements to take that test. For example, you need to have a minimum bandwidth, a certain level of your hardware, Windows 10. So if you meet all these requirements, then you can get registered with the ETS website and pay for the exam. And then through ProctorU, you will receive an email that you can use to get a test date. And remember that for Fulbright scholarship, the deadline is July 15th, and that's the same date for taking your exam. So you should have taken the exam before that. All right, so this is the test format. You will be having an analytical writing section. Now, this is the portion where you type your essays. So you will be given 2 separately timed writing tasks. For each task, you have 30 minutes. So you have to type the first essay within the first 30 minutes, and then the second essay in the next 30 minutes. Then you will be having verbal reasoning. So verbal reasoning is the English portion of the exam. Again, you'll be having 2 sections. For each section, you will have approximately 20 questions per section. And for each English section, you will be having 30 minutes per section. So this means that you'll be having around 1 minute and a few seconds for each question. Then we have the quantitative reasoning section. So this is the mathematical portion of the exam. Again, you will be having 2 sections of the quantitative reasoning, approximately 20 questions per section and 35 minutes per section. So for each question, you will be having a slightly more time in terms of seconds in the math section than in the English section. Okay, so if you add up these 2 sections, they total to 4. So 2 verbal reasoning, 2 quantitative reasoning, 4 sections. But sometimes what ETS does is they give you an extra section. It can be verbal and it can be quantitative. So when there are 5 sections instead of 4, there is 1 section that is experimental for ETS's own use. So that 1 section will not be scored. But we as test takers do not know which section out of these 5 sections would not be scored. So if you get a 5th section, don't worry about it. Just do it as you would be doing any other section. So just focus on each and every question and each section. If you have 5 sections, and don't worry about it, just do it. So besides that, sometimes ETS also gives a research section that is for their own research purpose. Its number of questions may vary, and the time may vary as well. So this is an identified research section that is not scored, and it may be included. So chances are you may not see that section, but if you do, don't panic. It's an unscored section, just do it. Excuse me. Okay, so let's start with the quantitative reasoning. So we did mention that you will be having 20 questions, 35 minutes for the quant reasoning. The score range for math is 130 to 170 in increments of 0.1. In increments of 1 point. So this means that you can either get a 130, a 132, a 140, a 150, but you will not be getting scores like 142.5 or 153.2. Okay, so you will get scores in increments of 1 point. So 130 in math and 130 in English is the minimum score. So the score starts with 130. This means that if you do not answer any question, then you will still get 130. So the score starts from 130, and the maximum that you can get in each of these sections is 170. So what's the minimum that you can get in GRE? That would be 130 plus 130, which is 260. And the maximum that you can get is 340. How did I get 340? 170 plus 170. Okay, so what kind of questions do you face in the mathematical portion? You need to understand the basic concepts of arithmetic, algebra, geometry, and data analysis. So the same maths that you have already done in your O-level or A-level or metric, and then there is data analysis. So data analysis means that there will be charts and table that you need to interpret. So you are all university students when you are taking your GRE, so it is expected that you know how to read charts and tables. So these are the 4 questions that are included in the math portion. Quantitative comparison, here you have two quantities are given to you and you need to compare the 2 quantities. Then you have MCQs. I know that all of you know what MCQs are. So MCQs in which there is 1 correct answer that you need to select. Then there are MCQs in which you need to select more than, there can be 1 correct answer or more than 1 correct answer. And then there is numeric entry. In numeric entry, you are not given multiple answer choices, but there is a box and you have to type the correct answer inside the box, and that's your answer. So these are the 4 question types that you're going to be facing in the math portion. Let's look at a few examples. So now this is an example where you have to select an answer which is multiple choice. So it says select a single answer choice. If 5x plus 32 equals 4 minus 2x, what is the value of x? So it's a simple question. I hope you guys can do it. So you keep x on one side and you take the numbers on the other side. So it should be f5x. On the left side, it would be 5x plus 2x, which is 7x. On the right side, it would be 4 minus 32, which is 28, of course. So 7x equals minus 28. So what would be the value of x? It would be c, of course. So c will be minus 4. So you will be given rough sheets there. You can use them. You can also use an on-screen calculator, but we recommend that you don't make use of it too much. That's because in hurry, if you make a mistake, if you press a wrong button in the calculator, your whole calculation would go wrong. So only use the calculator when it's absolutely necessary. Otherwise, you can do most of your stuff on the rough sheet. Okay, now this is a question where you have multiple choice with 2 correct answers. Which 2 of the following numbers have a product that is greater than 60? Now, what does product mean? Product means multiplication. And we have been asked to select 2 numbers. So we know that there are going to be 2 correct answer choices. So we need to find 2 such numbers. When we multiply those 2 numbers, the answer should be greater than 60. Now, when you get a question like this and you have positive and negative values in the answer choices, you should know, as soon as you look at the question, you should know that the answer cannot be a negative number multiplied by a positive number, because we need an answer which is a positive number. So it's either going to be 2 negative numbers multiplied by each other or 2 positive numbers multiplied by each other. So either it's going to be a multiplied by b. So minus 7 into minus 9 gives us 63. Okay, or it's gonna be 6 into 8, which is c into d. But 6 into 8 is 48. So this means that c and d cannot be the answer. So our answers are going to be a and b. Minus 9 into minus 7 gives us 63, which is a number greater than 60. And this is the answer that we are looking for. Okay, now, so you will be getting questions from algebra, arithmetic, and geometry. So let's look at this one question from geometry. Rectangle R has length 30 and width 10, and square S has length 5. The perimeter of S is what fraction of the perimeter of R? Now, what is a perimeter? So a perimeter is the sum of all sides of a figure. So what is a perimeter of a square? Since we know that all sides of a square are equal, so if one side is S, the other sides should be S into 4. So now the side of the square that we have been given is 5. Okay, so now we also have to decide what would go in the numerator and what would go in the denominator. So since it asks the perimeter of S is what fraction of the perimeter of R, so 5 into 4 is 20. So the perimeter of S is going to be 20 and it's going to be in the numerator. So 20 would go in the numerator. Now let's look at the other thing. What's going to go in the denominator? The perimeter of S is what fraction of the perimeter of R? So R is a rectangle, right? And in a rectangle, opposite sides are equal. So if 2 sides of a rectangle are 30 and 10, the other 2 sides are also going to be 30 and 10. So 30 plus 10 plus 30 plus 10 should give us 80. So 80 is going to go in the denominator. So now this is a numeric entry question where you need to just write the answers, type the answers in the box. If you type 20 over 80, it's fine. If you type 2 over 8, it's fine. If you type 1 over 4, it's fine. Now let's look at another question. There are twice as many girls as boys in an English class. If 30% of the girls and 45% of the boys have already submitted their homework, what percent of students have not submitted the homework yet? So when you get a question like this, remember, since percentages are given to you and you need to assume a number, it's always good, it's always easy to assume 100 in a situation like this. So it says there are twice as many girls as boys in the English class. So let's assume the number of boys to be 100. then the number of girls would be twice of 100, which is 200. So how many boys did the homework? There are 100 boys, 45% of the boys did their homework. So 45 boys did their homework. And how many girls did their homework? 30% of 200, which is 60. So 60 girls and 45 boys, which makes it a total of 105. Now, if you would be in a hurry, you may think that you're going to get the answer, which is what percent of students have not submitted the homework yet. So if you divide 105 by the total of 300 and multiply it by 100, you will get a wrong answer, because it does not ask you how many students submitted the homework. The question says what percent of students did not submit the homework. So if out of 300, 105 submitted the homework, then how many did not submit the homework? It would be 195. So 195 divided by 300 multiplied by 100 should give you the answer. And the answer is going to be 65%. So this is how you will be doing that. So a lesson from this question is that you need to read the questions very carefully as well. So since GRE is a kind of exam where, it pushes your limits. It's a test of your timing skills as well. It's a test of your nerves. So you need to do the questions correctly, you need to read the questions correctly, and you need to arrive at the correct answers. Okay, now this is the example from quantitative comparison. So in quantitative comparison, two quantities are given to you, and you have to compare the two quantities. Before we look at this question, we should know when we are going to select which answer choice. So whenever you think quantity A is greater than quantity B, you will select A, answer choice A. When you think quantity B is bigger than quantity A, you would be selecting answer choice B. When the two quantities are equal, you will select answer choice C. And when you think the relationship cannot be determined from the information given, you would select D. So let's look at this question. Now, there's another lesson in this question. So basically, you don't always need to solve all the questions fully. You need to be using common sense as well. So if you look at this question carefully, 23% of 43 and 43% of 23 are essentially the same quantities. Why? Because the numerator in quantity A is 23 multiplied by 43, and that's the same numerator in quantity B, 23 multiplied by 43. And denominator in both these quantities is 100. So essentially these two quantities are the same. So without even calculating, we have come to know that the answer choice should be answer choice C. Okay, now there's another question, and there's another lesson in this question. Always look at the question carefully. Sometimes it may seem to be pretty simple to you, but there may be a trick involved. So a statement given to us is x squared equals 25. Quantity A is x and quantity B is 25 under root. Okay, so now we need to find out the relationship between quantity A and quantity B. So, but first we need to see what quantity A is going to be. So if x squared equals 25, what A is going to be? 5. So when I go to universities mostly, and whenever I ask this question, this is the general answer that I get. If x squared equals 25, then x is going to be 5. And in terms of quantity B, we have 25 square root. So again, 25 under root is going to give you 5. So generally people say that the answer should be C. Quantity A is 5 and quantity B is 5. So although it seems to be a simple question, but there is a small trick involved here. So if x squared equals 25, actually x should equal plus minus 5. So quantity A is not plus 5, quantity A is plus minus 5. And quantity B is 25 square root. So there's a mathematical convention according to which whenever you take the root of a number under radical sign, always take the positive root. So quantity B has to be plus 5. So if quantity A is plus minus 5 and quantity B is plus 5, now can the relationship be determined? No. That's because if you take quantity A as plus 5, then quantity A and quantity B both seem to be equal. If you take quantity A as minus 5, then quantity B seems to be bigger than quantity A. So whenever you are not being, you're not getting a definite answer, your answer choice is always going to be answer choice D. The relationship cannot be determined. Okay, so as I mentioned that there are going to be some questions on data analysis as well. So let's look at this question, which says, according to the graph, which of the following could be the number of refurbished yachts sold in 1996? Now we are given two charts here, and there is a legend. So always look at the legend very carefully. The legend says new and refurbished yacht sales of company J, 1994 to 2004, and median sale price for selected years. So the topmost chart is yacht sales, and the chart at the bottom is for the median sale price. So this is one thing that we know. Now another thing that we see in the legend is these two, circle and square. So circle represents new yachts, and refurbished yachts is represented by the curve that has squares. So in the first chart, we have two curves. One has circles and one has squares. So when we look at the question, it says which of the following could be the number of refurbished yachts sold in 1996. So what are we going to, which chart are we going to see from these two? The top one or the bottom one? Since the question asks about the sales, so we are going to see this top chart. And now which curve are we going to see? The top one or the bottom one in the first chart? So we are asked about the number of refurbished yachts. So the topmost curve with circles is for new yachts. So we are going to ignore this, and we are going to look at this curve, which has circles, the curve below the other one. Okay, and which year sale do we need to look at? 1996. So if you look at 1996 sales, number of yachts, it gives you a figure that is a little less than 6. But then if you look at the y-axis, it says these are number of yachts sold in thousands. So this means our answer is going to be a little less than 6,000. So now looking at the answer choices, which answer choice is a little less than 6,000? So the closest answer that we have is 5,900. Answer choice B. So we are going to select answer choice B here. Okay, let's look at another question from quantity comparison, but this time it's from geometry. So this is a polygon that we have A, B, C, D, and E. The question says in square A, B, so it's talking about A, B, C, E. This is a square. So this means that all sides of the square should be equal. And quantity A is 24 and quantity B is the perimeter of the polygon A, B, C, D, E. A, B, C, D, E. The perimeter of this whole polygon is quantity B and quantity A is 24. So this means we need to find the perimeter of the polygon A, B, C, D, and E. And what's given to us? AB equals 4, but AB, C, and E is a square. So this means all sides should be equal. So 4, AB is 4, BC is 4, AE is 4, and CE is 4. Now we need to find these two sides as well. So incidentally, this side, which is 4, CE, it's also a side of a square and a side of an equilateral triangle. So we know that all sides in an in an equilateral triangle are equal. So if CE is 4, then ED is also going to be 4 and CD is also going to be 4. So now let's see. We now know all sides of the perimeter of ABCDE, the polygon. And how many sides are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so there are 5 sides in this polygon. Sometimes students make a mistake that they include CE in the perimeter. This will not be included in the perimeter since this is not the outer boundary. We are looking for the outer boundaries. Okay, so there are 5 sides and each side is 4. So 4 multiplied by 5 is 20. So quantity B is 20, quantity A is 24. So quantity A is bigger than quantity B. So we are going to select answer choice A. Okay, next we are going to go on the verbal reasoning section, which is the English portion of the exam. So as I mentioned before, the score range is between 130 to 170 in increments of 1. The quantitative reasoning section, again, 130 to 170 in increments of 1. In analytical writing, we have score between 0 to 6. So you will be typing 2 essays in analytical writing, and the composite score of the 2 essays is 0, between 0 to 6. 0 being the worst and 6 being the best. And in analytical writing, you get scores in increments of 0.5. So this means that you can get a 1.5, a 2, a 2.5, a 3, a 3.5, and so on. There are 3 types of questions that you are going to be seeing in the verbal reasoning section. First one is reading comprehension. So you'll be given passages. There will be some passages will be short, some will be of medium length, and some would be really long. And you have to answer questions that come after the passages. Then you have text completion, in which you need to have a good vocabulary and you need to fill up the questions with the correct answer. You need to fill up the blanks with correct answer choices. And then there is sentence equivalence, in which is quite similar to text completion, but in text completion, for each blank, you select 1 answer choice. But for sentence equivalence, for each blank, you select 2 answer choices. They are kind of synonyms that are, similar in meaning to each other. So we'll start with text completion. There can be 1 blank, there can be 2 blanks, and there can be 3 blanks in text completion. These are short paragraphs. No partial credit means that if there are 2 blanks, you have to give correct answer for both the blanks, and if there are 3 blanks, you have to give correct answer for all 3 blanks. Let's look at an answer, a question. Just as different people can have very different personalities, so too can pets. Even those of the same species and breed possess varied dash. Now the recommendation that we give is always, in your own words, come up with a word that you think should go in the blank. Never look at the answer choices first. So first, come up with a word that you think should go in the blank and then look at the answer choices. So what is it saying? Just as different people can have very different personalities, so pets can also have different personalities. Even those pets, even those species and breed that are different, they may possess, that are same. Those species that are the same, they may still possess different dash. So it's quite clear that here we are talking about personality types. So the kind of word that should go in this blank should be something which refers to personalities. So let's look at the answer choice. So in math and in English portion, remember to use the process of elimination. So the process of elimination means that you eliminate the wrong answer choices and your chances to arrive at the correct answer are increased. So can the correct answer be initiation? No. Initiation means to start something. So you can basically eliminate this answer choice. Can the correct answer be implementation? Obviously, no. Implementation means to implement something, to induct something. Aptitude. So aptitude seems to be a little close to what we are looking for. So let's not eliminate C. And what about rationalization? So rationalization basically means to talk logic. So again, this is something that we can eliminate. Okay, the last one seems to be quite a close answer to what we are looking for, temperaments. So we are left with C and E. By the process of elimination, we have basically reduced our correct answer choices to 2 options. So we have a 50% chance to arrive at the correct answer. So what is it going to be? Is it going to be C or E? So generally, temperament is closer to the meaning of personalities. Aptitude can go in skills as well, and aptitude is generally used for humans. So we are going to select temperament. Temperament is more close to personality. So answer choice E is the correct answer. When you are doing text completion, there are 3 things that you need to keep in mind. The first one is always look for a clue. And what's a clue? A clue is a word or group of words that point to the best answer choice. So you see, if there is no clue, then there is no way for us to arrive at the correct answer. For instance, if I give you a statement that says Ahmed is a blank boy. So what is going to go in that blank? Ahmed can be a good boy. Ahmed can be a bad boy. But if a clue is given to you after the statement that says Ahmed is a blank boy, he takes care of his parents. So this is the clue. Now we know that we are going to select, basically we are going to select Ahmed is a good boy. That's because the clue is indicating in that direction. So the first thing that you're going to keep in mind is the clue. Then the second thing, okay, so before we go to the second thing, let's look at this. Now known as Administrative Professionals Day, Secretary's Day was created in 1952 by Harry F. Clemfus, a public relations professional who dashed the value and significance of administrative assistants in order to attract more women to the profession. Okay, now let's look at the clues. So, who created the Secretary's Day? It was done by Harry F. Clemfus. And this is one clue. So when do you create a day, a Mother's Day, a Father's Day, for instance, when you think highly of that event? What was the profession of Harry himself? He was a public relations professional. This is another clue. He belonged to the same profession. And the last clue is he wanted to attract more women to the profession. So this means in the blank, the word should be something like a public relations professional who understood the value and significance of administrative professionals. So we know that he thought highly of the profession. And we came to know about it through the clues. So the first thing is the clue. The answer choices that we have here is, let's look at the meanings as well. So prescribed means to forbid. You can eliminate this. Touted means to promote. This can be the answer. So who touted the value, who promoted the value and significance of administrative assistance. Refuted, you can eliminate this. It means to reject, to disprove. Undermined, it means to hinder or sabotage something. Eliminate undermined. And E is admonished, to reprimand, warn, to scold. You can eliminate this. So the correct answer is B. The second thing that you should be looking at is the tone, whether the tone is positive, whether the tone is negative. So see whether the tone of the blank is positive, negative, or neutral. A wind chill warning is issued when the temperature is projected to reach minus 25 degrees Fahrenheit or lower, the point at which the cold has dash effects on living creatures. Now the whole tone of this sentence is negative. So a wind chill warning is issued for the temperature, which would go up to minus 25 Fahrenheit. So this is a point of cold at which the cold has dash effects on living creatures. So it's quite obvious that it must be having adverse effects or lethal effects. So we know what kind of answer would go in this blank. So this is the second thing, that's the tone. So the first thing is what? The clue, and the second thing is the tone that you should keep in mind. And the third thing, it includes the trigger words. These words indicate whether the blank should follow the clue or should go in the opposite direction. So let's look at this example. While it is generally assumed that drinking alcohol is detrimental to one's health, many studies have shown the dash effects of having a glass or two of wine daily. Now, what's the trigger word here? The trigger word is while. So trigger words are words like nevertheless, hence, moreover, in conclusion. So here, while indicates that the direction of the second part of the sentence would be opposite to the first part. So in the first part, it says while it's assumed drinking alcohol is detrimental, negative, but there's an invisible but there. But many studies have shown the positive effects of a glass or two. So the second blank should have a positive word. So please, whenever you are doing text completion and sentence equivalence, keep in mind these three things that we just talked about. So for sentences having 2 or 3 blanks, complete the blanks one by one. So you can complete blank number 3 before blank number 2 in a statement. Pick the easier ones first, find the clue, look for trigger words as we just discussed. Look if the blanks complement each other or go in the opposite direction. Okay, so next look at this sentence equivalence. Here's an example. The cohesion of Alexander the Great's vast empire was dash. At his death, Alexander's lands were divided among his generals. Okay, so you see in sentence equivalence, you will be given 6 answer choices and you will have 1 blank. So for that blank, you have to select 2 answer choices in a way that if you use either of those 2 words, the meaning of the sentence should not change. Now here, what is cohesion? Cohesion means the strength of bonding. So if Alexander's lands were divided among his generals at the time of his death, so this means the cohesion of his empire was not really strong. So let's look at the answer choices and let's do the process of elimination. Abiding. Let me show you the meanings as well. So abiding means something that lasts. This is not what we are looking for. We are looking for a word that shows that the cohesion was not strong. Precarious, dangerously insecure. This can be an answer. Let's keep it there. Protracted, again long lasting. We can eliminate this as well. D is redoubled, to double. Let's eliminate that. Renowned, famous or celebrated. We can eliminate that. And then tenuous. Tenuous is something which is insubstantial, something which is uncertain, something which is thin in subject. So what are the 2 answer choices that we are going to select here? Precarious, something whose future is uncertain. So obviously if the cohesion was not certain, the cohesion was dangerously insecure. And the second word is tenuous. The cohesion was tenuous, which means it was insubstantial. So B and F will be the answer choices here. Despite their outward negativity, many a cynic harbors an inner faith in the dash of mankind. Now, here the trigger word is despite. So this shows that although people have, from the surface, they have negativity towards mankind, but even the cynics have an inner faith in the dash of mankind. So it's quite obvious that there's going to be a positive word here. So what kind of a word can go in this blank? In the positivity of mankind, maybe. In the benevolence of mankind. Let's look at the answer choices. So the first one, incidentally, is benevolence. So benevolence means thinking good of someone. So we will not eliminate this. Let's keep it there. Precocity. Let me show you the meanings as well. So precocity means intelligent, something in advance, something before it happens. So you can eliminate precocity. Parsimony is stinginess. Ignobility makes noble negative. So ignobility means not noble. You can eliminate D. Antipathy means a feeling of dislike, hatred. You can eliminate that. That's because we decided that in the blank there should be a positive word. So the first one, benevolence, a disposition to do good. And the second one, probity, goodness or honesty. So despite their outward negativity, many a cynic harbors an inner faith in the benevolence of mankind or in the probity of mankind. So A and F will be the answer choices here. Okay, so in reading comprehension, you will be having either one paragraph, two paragraphs, up till five paragraphs. The topics are varied, so you can get a topic from music, from environment, from astronomy, from engineering, from business. Don't worry about it. The question types that you get are MCQs, in which one answer choice is correct. Then you have select all that apply, and then you have a kind of question in which you will not be given the answers, but you have to go back in the passage and select a statement that you think is the correct answer choice. And when you click on that statement, it will get highlighted. So that would be your answer. Okay, so in reading comprehension, there will be some passages that would really be long. So one strategy that we suggest is do not try to read each and every word in a passage or in a paragraph. So focus on the first 2-3 lines of the first paragraph, know what the whole idea of the passage is, note what the whole idea, the main idea of the first paragraph is, make notes if you want to, then go to para 2 and do the same, focus on the first 2-3 lines, skim the rest, see how para 2 is connected to para 1 and do the rest for the, do the same for the rest of the passages, and in the last para look at the conclusion. So we discussed this. There are like 1 to 5 paragraphs each in a passage. Each passage may have 1 to 5 questions, depending on how long a passage is. And the focus is less on vocabulary in this section, and there is more focus on your reading skills and on your comprehension. Okay, so these are the 3 things that you're going to be looking for when you read the first few lines of a passage. So I'm just going to read a few lines and then let's see. Little is known about the elusive section of the Earth's atmosphere known as the mesosphere. Located between the stratosphere, the maximum altitude that airplanes can achieve, and the thermosphere, the minimum altitude of spacecraft, the mesosphere is poorly understood. Okay, so if we keep our reading till this point, what is the main idea of this paragraph? So the paragraph is talking about 2 layers of the atmosphere, in fact 3 layers, and the main focus is on mesosphere, what's above it, what's below it, and that this phenomena is poorly understood. Now that you know what the main idea is, you need to just skim through the rest, and when you skim through the rest, you will understand that the rest of the paragraph talks about how meteors collide with this layer, what happens when meteors collide, there are explosions, and then there is heat, there is conflagration, and then what happens after conflagration, traces of iron, other metals are there. So you know, when you skim through it, you'll know what the whole structure is about. And you also should look at the tone. Is it positive, is it negative, is it neutral? So it's explanation of a scientific phenomenon. So the tone here is neutral. Okay, now let's look at this. I'll again read a first few lines, and then probably we can look at the answer, the question. Or consider McMurtry's treatment of character. The traditional Western formula depicts mainly masculine characters and portrays them as both heroic and human. In his novels, McMurtry creates strong female characters. Let's keep it till here. What's the main idea? We are talking about a novelist. His name is McMurtry. He has done something different. What is that? In the traditional ways, the writers always show men as the main characters. But what is What is it that McMurtry has done different? He has shown a strong female character. So now we understand what the paragraph is talking about, so we can just skim through the rest. So if you look at the rest of the paragraph, it basically talks about how critics view McMurtry's work. So if you get a question about the critics, you have to come to this paragraph. If you have a question regarding how McMurtry treats females, you have to come to this paragraph. So the question is, select the sentence that shows the author's view of McMurtry's treatment of gender. Now, answer choices are not given to us here. So this means this is the question type number 3. Which one was that? I just showed you. Okay, let me see. Yes, so this is the last one. Select in passage. Where answer choices are not given to us, we need to go in the passage and select the correct answer choice. So select the sentence that shows the author's view of McMurtry's treatment of gender. Select that sentence in which it shows that McMurtry, how he treats gender. Which sentence is going to be that? In his novels, McMurtry creates strong female characters. So you press on that and it will be highlighted like this, and that's it. You move on. That's your answer. Okay, so basically, there is one last thing that I want to talk about, and that is the analytical writing section. So the analytical writing section is the essays portion of the exam. You have to type 2 essays. The first one is called analysis of an issue, and the second one is called analysis of an argument. For analysis of an issue, you will have 30 minutes. And basically what you need to do in that essay is that a statement would be given to you, and you need to give your opinion whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it. So since the reader of your essay is going to have just 1 minute to read your essay, it's a good idea to structure your essay. So in the first paragraph, you should take a position and let the reader know whether you agree or you disagree with the statement given. Then in the next few paragraphs, give examples, and they should be solid examples. Don't talk in general. So give solid examples to prove your point, to show support to the position that you took. And in the last paragraph, write the conclusion, and your conclusion should match the position that you took. And always, please always read the question very carefully as well. So because the question may be asking you to, in addition, do something in particular as well. So this is the first essay, analysis of an issue. The second essay is analysis of an argument. In the analysis of an argument, what happens is that you are given a set of statements, and you need to separate the conclusion from the premises. A premise is an unstated a statement, particularly which is not directly stated in the passage. So that's the premise. Basically it's an assumption which is not stated. So you need to differentiate assumptions from the conclusion, and you have to present a critique on the whole, on the gap that exists between the premises and the conclusion. So I would encourage you to go on the ETS website, www.ets.org/GRE, and on that website you are going to find sample essays there, and you will find essays that got really good scores, and some essays that didn't get good scores, and then some average essays that would give you an idea of how to write good essays. And besides that, the question types that you get in analytical writing, you will have 100 samples for analysis of an issue there, and also 100 samples for analysis of an argument. So please do go on that website, and there is also an online free practice test for GRE that you can do on the ETS website. Okay, so it's called Power Prep Online. Please do that as well. And in front of your screen, you have, excuse me, our website address, which is www.usefpakistan.org. So if you have not registered with us as a student yet, then you can write the whole address /advising/GRE, /advising/register, and you can get registered as a student as well. we will not be giving you advice as such on Fulbright, but if you want to apply directly to the United States, we would be there to help you out. And also you will, once you get registered, you will start, an advisor will be assigned to you, and you will also start getting emails telling you what we are doing in our centers or what our virtual programming is going on right now. So we are also present on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Insta, and that's the Education USA Pakistan's handle that you see there. So please also check them out. So with that, I will hand over to you, Merium, for any questions if you have.
Yeah, thank you, Zeshaan. Thank you for going over the test and the different sections within the test. So before we move on to the questions, one common question that we have from all the students is there a particular strategy that you could suggest for students to prepare for this test? Since it's a time test, it's also called a stress test. Is there a particular strategy or a way to prepare for this test? And if yes, would you suggest any particular books or preparation material for the test?
Okay, so basically, you know, this is a kind of test where you can't have a fluke. So this means that you need some time to prepare for the test. And people ask us how much time is required to prepare. So basically, it really depends on your current scenario. So it's always a good idea to start with a mock test and find out what kind of score you get, find out the weaknesses that you have currently and your strengths, whether you are really good at certain sections of math and you are not that good in maybe in probability or maybe in charts. So same with English, try to find out what you're good at, what you're not good at, then practice, practice, and practice. So take a good book from the market, buy a good book. There are a number of books. For example, there is one official guide for GRE preparation by the ETS. You can check that out. There is a Princeton Review book. There is a Kaplan book. There is a Manhattan book. And then there is Magoosh. There are a number of books, but really we do not recommend any one particular book. It really depends on your own liking. So you need to, you know, find a few excerpts about the books, read the reviews from the net, and then you can decide on which book you want to buy. In most good books, basically, there are also some vocabulary. There is some vocabulary given at the back, 500 words or 1,000 words. So it can give you a starting point of, you know, starting your vocabulary from there and then continuing to build up more. So since you also have to build vocabulary, again, it's not going to be done in one day. So some people take 2 months, some people take 1 month to build a good vocabulary. So I would suggest read, read, and read, and keep a register. The difficult words, whose meanings you don't know, write those words in that register every day, 8 words, 10 words, 12 words, and then try to remember the meanings, make sentences in your own words. Then as you move on, revise the previous words so that you don't forget them. Practice those words with your friends who are also preparing for GRE. Use flashcards. In addition to physical flashcards, there are also online flashcards available for Android devices and for Apple devices as well. So these are a few strategies that I think I can recommend.
Very well said. Zeshaan, there's Waqas Tanveer. He's attending our session. He wants to know that does the unscored section always comes at the end?
So you see, you will not know which one is the unscored section. So if you get 5 sections instead of 4 sections, then you have to do the exam as if each and every section will be scored. So this is for the unscored section. So you will not know which one will not be scored. It can be any section. But for the research section, that's an identified section. So if a research section comes, they will tell you, ETS will tell you. But if there is a 5th section, an unscored section, then you will not know which section that is. So it's a good idea to do all the sections well.
Okay. One of the students, his name is Mia Ziauddin. He wants to know, sorry, Hafsa Ashfaq. Hafsa Ashfaq wants to know how much does this test cost?
It's $205, and you can basically pay it through credit card, through the ETS website. And in normal circumstances, you can, when our office used to be open, it will be open inshallah again, but we don't know the dates. So you can also pay through a pay order through our center. But right now our centers are closed. So there is this option that I talked about, the GRE for home test, and you can go to the ETS website and find more information about it from there.
So talking about the home test, Zeshaan, a lot of students are concerned about how this test actually takes place. They have concerns since they've never taken a home test for an exam like this. They are also concerned about the timing of the test since they consider that only US timings are considered. So maybe they have to take the test later at night. So what do you have to say about that?
So I would recommend go to the ETS website, and all the information is there, how to get registered for their test, what particular hardware requirements are there, what Windows requirement is there, and then how you're gonna get the dates, what time would be decided. So you'll get all the information from there, and we know it may not be a perfect world right now out there, but those who really urgently want to take the exam, this is one opportunity that ETS is giving to you. So go there, find it out. And another thing is that it's going to be very similar actually to the physical test. The same kind of question, the same level of difficulty, the same format. So please don't worry about that. So the only thing is that you'll be sitting in your home and doing the exam. So on the ETS website, there is some guidance on what to expect from the test while you're taking it. So I would recommend go there and read as much information as possible.
Asif Khan is concerned about test prep. He's not sure how he should prepare for the GRE test. So can you shed some light on our test prep initiative and our test prep classes for GRE?
So when our center was open, we were having around the year GRE classes, and basically we have a 5-week course, and in that course we have classes 4 days a week, 2 hours every day. But unfortunately right now we're not having the GRE classes due to the current scenario. But inshallah, as soon as the center opens, then we'll be having classes again. But in the meanwhile, there is a whole world of information out there on the net on how to prepare for the exam. There are mock tests available, there are books available. So I would suggest make use of that at this moment to prepare for the exam. Get a good book in your hand, make use of that. Go to YouTube and look at the tutorials that are there. Go to Khan Academy, look at the tutorials. So there is a lot of information that you can use to do well on the exam. And don't forget to go to the ETS website. There is a lot of preparation material there as well.
Thank you for answering that. One of our students is concerned about using rough sheets. So if somebody's taking an exam, a home-based test for GRE, would they be allowed to use rough sheets?
Yes, you will be allowed to use the rough sheets, but there would be camera there who would be, and someone would be monitoring your desk. There is certain requirement of clothes. There is a certain requirement of what you are expected to wear, what you should have on your table. So all that detail you will get from the ETS website.
Thank you for answering that. Your last words for somebody who is preparing for GRE and is concerned about their vocabulary, since a lot of students in Pakistan have concerns about their English and they believe that GRE vocabulary is pretty tough. So any golden words for you from your side?
So you see, when we go to an engineering school, generally students are comfortable with math, but they are worried about the English portion of the exam. When we go to an art school like NCA, they are really worried about the math portion of the exam. Excuse me. So basically, but one thing to understand here is that the level of math and English is, something that an O-level student, a metric student, an A-level student is expected to have. So don't worry about it. All it needs is to practice. So vocabulary is something that is not impossible. Vocabulary is something that can be done. So you just need some time to do that. You need a strategy to build your vocabulary, to increase your vocabulary. The more vocabulary you have, the better score is expected from you on the GRE, obviously, because 2 of the sections in English are based on vocabulary. And remember another thing, that stats tell us that for Pakistani students, there is really not much difference between English and math. So Pakistani students are doing really well on English as well, even though we think that we have disadvantages in English. But if you compare us with Far Eastern countries like China, like Thailand, we actually have advantages in certain scenario in the use of language. So please don't worry. All you need to do is to work hard and to practice and stay focused.
So with these motivational words, we will end our session. Thank you, Zeshaan, for teaching us about this test, for helping our students and our viewers. I thank you on behalf of USEFP and Education USA. And thank you,
so
students,
much.
for attending our session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So with that, we end this session. Thank you so much.